We are about to start today our second brick workshop, and we're hosted today by the Scottish Historic Buildings Trust. We are in Riddles Court, one of the Regeneration projects in Edinburgh. We are going to cover several topics today, looking at how to develop creative ideas for historic buildings, how to go about developing a funding strategy for a project, and in the afternoon we'll be focusing on the social investment, the new model for fundraising and getting investment for heritage projects.
As a building preservation trust, you probably aren't sitting there with an idea that you then go out and look for a building. You're probably got a building or a building problem, and the actual issue is what ideas can you develop relative to that building to find a solution. What I find is interesting about this one is that the business plan only actually picked up half of the things that buildings ended up being used for. And the biggest element of income is something that nobody dreamed about first off: weddings. Who would have thought people would want to get married in a cemetery? But think about it.
We looked a little bit at the kind of operational model for this. So assuming that the community wanted to have a fair stake in this, then we go with a model that saw the overall ownership and management be within a community-run social enterprise.
Greenlaw was our first step into merchandising and all the things that go with fundraising. So we had t-shirts, bags, pens, Christmas cards, all that kind of thing. We did sponsorship, we had people sponsoring a stone on the building. We did fundraising events. We had St Mary's Music School coming down and giving a concert in the church, and then another house owner offered to put everybody up for dinner to raise money, as well as attending the village fair every year and shaking the tin can. And we did everything to raise money.
What I tried to give, based on the 35 years of experience that we've got as a building preservation trust, is a feel for different ways of funding projects to hopefully just spark some imagination with the delegates at the conference, and that seems to have been quite effective.
Now, today's seminar is fantastic. It's not just a seminar, workshop, meeting people, networking. The first little project we had was a great way to open the event, I thought, because it got our minds working in an imaginative way.
Particularly the two sessions this morning looking at funding and how to go about funding and how to go about gathering that funding. It was very interesting to hear from Una and her approach at Scottish Historic Buildings Trust about how it really is a mix of funding and a cocktail of funding that's required to get things going.
I've already got a huge amount out of the workshop of seeing other people's diverse projects, but the common link as to how they go about particular funding, because funding is always a problem.
One of the things that we do as a part of my community banking team is we have our own microfinance fund. It is essentially providing finance to organisations, charities and social enterprises who will have been declined through the mainstream banking source.
There are so many organisations out there where the idea of taking on investment is frightening. Organisations are very used to taking on grants, writing big grant applications, getting the money in from that means, and then kind of fulfilling the objectives from there. Taking on investment is very much about a cultural change.
It's long been an ambition of PRT that not only can it provide community groups with obviously invaluable support and expertise, but actually that we can then provide some funding alongside this as well. So the ambition of this fund is that if you work with us, help us understand your business plan, we'll be the first mover advantage. So we'll be the ones saying, yeah, we're in, our money's in.
That was a wonderful session. It was well run, very interesting comments from the groups, interesting thought processes people go through. You do learn from other projects, but every project is unique.
Presentations were incredibly on target. Everyone both participated and received a lot of very good information and ideas. So very stimulating day, lots is packed in, but only good things to say about it.
The presentation in the morning, looking at different options for a variety of buildings, I think that was inspiring, actually, and really potentially very helpful.
I'm not sure I knew fully what to expect, whether it was going to be sitting doing a lot of listening, but as it was much more interactive, and really talking to people, exchanging ideas, and I found it hugely stimulating and interesting, learned a huge amount, and definitely recommend it.